Why did you decide to go with Andrew, and how did you assess his performance?
He wants to win. He's thrown on Fridays before in his career. He's got great stuff, so he's fully capable, but the biggest thing was he wants to win. He had a moment in that Florida series that was it was an interesting moment in the dugout. He was pretty fired up, but that was kind of where it clicked, and if we were going to make a change, that he was as good of a candidate as anybody. And then my assessment, I'd love to watch the video, but I thought he threw the ball great. Obviously, when you get a start, you'd like to get off to a good start, but also, you're being asked to take the ball for multiple innings. On this occasion, it's not like he's thrown 100 pitches before, so it was more like 4 or 5 innings would be an ideal day. And he threw well enough if we play good defense behind him. You can't predict the future. One thing changes another, but he threw well enough. We might have had to rip the ball out of his hand, in the 6th inning because we're looking at the pitch count.
From your vantage point, just what went wrong defensively in that 3rd inning?
On the double play, I'm not sure what happened. To me, we talked for a little bit, and I just see a lot of defenders standing straight up. So I guess mechanically, that's my assessment. But the angle-wise made it really tough to see. But you make a couple mistakes against a good team, you open up the door for other things to happen. So, again, on defense, it could be basketball. They had a good team, we had a good team. You watch our teams play basketball. You got to play defense with your feet, and you got to get into your legs. And, I think the same goes for about any other sport. It all starts with your feet, and you got to grind things out. And I don't know that we did that well enough for a guy that was throwing the ball really well. But, it's not like anyone's looking to stab the guy in the back. You could kind of sense from our team they were excited for him to have the opportunity to throw.
Those middle infield mistakes, you mentioned them tonight mechanically. It seems like they've been consistent. Are those mental, mostly mechanical? What's your vantage point?
Well, I think there's been some mental ones on occasion where, you start to lose focus, either because it's really cold in Missouri, or it's not going well. But I don't think, and I'm just saying this now, not that I got any one pattern or anything like that in mind. My biggest theme is you got to grind on defense. Defense is where you muck and grind. If you're a hockey fan, you can't be afraid to get dirty, can't be afraid to get chest up, and you got to do whatever it takes to get one out. I think on the one play where Cal made a really nice throw down to second base, I don't know the logistics yet, but I know we're late covering. You're not looking to hurt anybody, but you might have to just tackle the ball on the base at the same time, or maybe you end up running into the base runner, but you got to do whatever you got to do to get a guy out.
It looked to you like Holland started pitching faster about the 4th inning, really quickly.
Yeah, a little bit more rhythm to everything he was doing, but it's easier to do that when things are, rolling for you too. So it's kind of 1-2 punch there is got to be going for you in order for it to work out that way. But he's got some deception. You can tell he likes to compete. He does it in his own unique way. I say it jokingly, but all lefties are a little bit goofy. But he did a nice job of mixing speeds, as he always does. And I thought our guys, still had competitive at-bats even when we weren't putting up the runs. But you got an open door against a guy like that. You better charge through it. And we kind of went halfway through it.
I saw Dollander pitching before the game. What's the plan for him this weekend?
More than likely to start tomorrow. We'll get together as a staff. But, he probably was 95 pitches last week. And, one of those deals as a coach, we could have left Lindsey out there. We just kind of played the situation a little bit. And again, if a starter's not gassed out at 150 pitches or something, you could leave him out there. So, it would have been interesting if we would have left Doe in the game last week. But we want him to throw a full start for us. I don't know if that's 100 pitches or 80 pitches or whatever it might be, but good chance he starts tomorrow, bottom line.
What did Hagen Smith do to shut you down the last 3 innings?
He jumps at you a little bit in the delivery. And he relishes them, I want to win, but I'm watching the game too. And you notice when guys want to be in the situation, whether they're wearing our uniform, a Florida State, Oregon, Arkansas uniform, and he wants to be out there. And then again, because he's jumping at you off the rubber and then the ball's jumping too, there's a little bit of deception. But I've watched video on him before, and he's absolutely buried some guys. And I don't know that he necessarily did that to us. Thought our guys competed. They had nothing to show for it, but it's one of the best arms in the league, and knowing him and knowing Coach Van Horn, they're probably anxious to get in a situation where he's got the ball in his hand again.
Arkansas's infielders made a ton of big plays for them defensively. How much did you feel like that affected what you guys were able to do offensively?
Yeah, it did. Their hard hit balls were mainly caught by our outfielders, which you'd like the guys to do. The hard hit balls on the infield for them I don't know if anyone will make Sports Center, but they were really good plays, and it, kind of deflated a couple guys after some really good at-bats. The left side of the infield was great, and then obviously they make a diving play at the middle too, second. So everybody contributed on their infield, and they didn't give us an opening. So as great as those plays were, I think it boils down to they didn't give us an opening on defense, whereas we did.
Joseph got into the one, just talk about that, and it's kind of key play.
Yeah, it is. Saw him a bunch in high school, really talented kid, and I don't know exactly how his career went at Kansas, but again, he really likes to play. He's gotten stronger than the skinny kid I saw in high school, and he put it to use right there. But, we had two pitches where I think looked like down and in fastballs to lefties where they got it over the fence. We got it over the fence once. He swung the bat really well tonight, but I think the difference was the things we were talking about with Hagan doing well at the end of the game and us maybe not helping out our guys as best as we could.
What was the difference offensively for y'all for those first 2 innings to the last 7?
The guys were juiced. They had a really good vibe going. I think going into the weekend, anticipation has been almost kind of a negative for us. Like we got to conquer the world or whatever you happen to be, titling the weekend or writing in an article seemed to take over their minds. Whereas today they were relaxed, enjoying the opportunity to compete, and it bled into the game. And then when you get punched in the gut, the challenge is, can you maintain that? And I will say, for what it's worth, it doesn't show on the scoreboard, but in the dugout, there were moments of frustration, but I didn't see our guys, tailspin because things went wrong, where to be honest with you, they have in the past.